But I've got some, we got some spicy stuff now. Some spicy things. Because I saw this on Kotaku. And this is guaranteed to ruffle some feathers here. A new report. This is from Kotaku by Carolyn Petit. New report suggests that games industry is failing LGBTQ players. Oh, no. Advocacy group GLAAD has run the numbers, and they're not great. Uh-oh. I don't want to make fun of this article all that much, but I've known games representation in game matters ever since the day in 1997 when they finished Metroid and they saw Samus was a woman. My God, I hate representation in game discussion. It's so dumb. A report released today. Oh, important statistics, guys. Important statistics. I think the real story here is just how a narrative is crafted by these companies working together. So we got GLAAD, which is, a gay advocacy group. But, this is because of most striking findings. Here it is. 17% of active gamers identify as LGBTQ. Now, when you hear this statistic, I think, a smart person kind of looks at it like, that doesn't sound quite right. I mean, a lot of young people play video games, and a lot of them kind of like go through a phase where they're like, am I non-binary? That's kind of cool right now to do. But 17% identify as LGBTQ, and yet only a paltry 2% of games on major PC and console storefronts, PCN, Steam, Nintendo eShop, are tagged as having LGBTQ content. So basically, they're saying 70% of players are gay. I'm just use gay as a short for LGBTQ because that's a mouthful. Or queer, maybe it's just queer would be better. But and they're using that only 2% have tags specifically as LTBGQ as gay. So that's their thing. Like they basically more games just need to tag themselves as queer and they'll be happy, I guess. And then they try and look at this cool chart here. Agree. This is from their survey. I depend on video games to get me through tough times. And it's really only half. I was surprised. Like, I guess games aren't that important. Only half of them depend on video games to get me through tough times. And then, of course, we reside in states where anti-LGBTQ legislation has been passed or proposed. My state, great state of Florida, is in this. 65, it grows. Games, I guess they're trying to imply that games help gay kids not commit suicide. I guess that's why you're saving lives by making your games more queer. That's, I guess, the narrative they're trying to say. But we're not going into it. And then capitalist argument. Hey, look, so many gamers are gay. So why aren't you making games gayer, guys? You're throwing money away by not making this gay, is what they're trying to say. But let's go over to GLAAD's website here and let's look at their methodology to get this game. So they partnered with Neilson, which is supposed to be provide stats for game companies. Well, a custom portion of the survey. Neilson is a global leader in audience measurement data, and gaming team was formed in 2005 to provide exclusive market research and consumer insights across physical and digital platforms and hardware, with comprehensive metrics including awareness and resonance over time. Provides priority ratings to help understand gamers' preference and demographics. And here's the big thing. Here's something that they don't mention, which I find very, very odd. Neilson fielded a 10-minute survey among active PC and console gamers in the United States with a boost sample of LGBTQ plus gamers to help GLAAD better understand the relationship between LGBTQ community and the game industry in terms of representation, harassment, and overall attitudes and behaviors. So what I don't get, they're trying to say, and this is, maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand this, but they're saying 17% are gay, but only, but they had this boosted sample. They admit that they boosted the sample for LGBTQ gamers. So wouldn't that mean that they specifically targeted these gamers, and now they're going to use that, the fact that they boosted it to say 17% are gay? So to me, just reading this, that means the survey is complete crap. You know, that number, 17% number, is complete garbage, because they admit that they stack the people they survey to be LGBTQ or queer, gay, whatever. I can't say this fucking acronym over and over again. The study was fielded by Neilson between June and August of 2023. And then, so this whole thing kind of shows you that the number's crap, that they specifically skewed it to be queer survey questionnaires. And when you go down to acknowledgments too, when you're talking about Neilson, they're reliable, right? Neilson's trusted. You've heard of Neilson. And then special thanks to Neilson's game team. And they specifically mentioned Stacy DeAmbres and Patricia Radalongi, whatever. And then you look, I tried to look up, who are these people? And this goes down to Neilson. Stacy DeAmbres is the Diverse Insights and Initiatives lady. And this Patricia is the VP Communications, part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Good old DEI. So Neilson, GLAAD specifically acknowledging their DEI folks over in Neilson. So essentially, it seems to me that GLAAD goes out, they talk to Neilson, hey, give us a skewed statistic that we can use to browbeat developers to say they need to be gayer. Games need to be more gay. Their DEI folks over at Neilson help get them those numbers that they can use. And then, of course, let me just type into Google. 1 in 17%. By the way, 17% isn't 1 in 5, but you know, you're rounding up. 5 gamers are gay. Let's just put that into Google. Let's take a look here. Let's and then so they get this, you know, bogus statistics. And what happens here? Oh, first off, we have The Hill. 1 in 5 gamers identifies LGBTQ. VentureBeat, Them and Us, which I think is specifically gay. The Gamer, whoa. And over fast face harassment, new GLAAD report. Yahoo, new GLAAD report. New York Times, 70%. And then it just goes on and on. Oh, The Hill, gaming, man. I'm glad there's a thing called gaming. And then every reporter picks it up and they just run with it. 1 in 5, 20%, 17%, or whatever they want to say. At least New York Times has 70% instead of 1 in 5. 1 in 5 gamers are gay. Why aren't you making your games gayer, guys? Every major news organization runs with this. And then, you know, sort of like New York Times, you know, these trusted news orgs just take the stats as gospel, and then they throw them out there. GLAAD said this, and they've got Neilson. Neilson's a trusted. Look at how trusted these people are to give you factual information about gamers. It's just science, guys. Believe it. And that is something that I thought was interesting. Of course, you know, this is typical narrative they keep pushing in movies and everywhere else. And of course, games too. They want to try and make them more inclusive, diverse, equitable, and inclusive. And it's so funny to sort of see that you get a company like Neilson. GLAAD wants them to make a bogus survey. They do. These guys do. Hey, here's our bogus numbers that we sampled a larger percentage of gay people for, and then you get to say. They get to go say, hey, 70% are gay. And then every single journalist decides, hey, let's run with it and say 1 in 5 gamers are LGBTQ. 1, of course, they are not. And then, of course, the sad thing is that a bunch of they'll use that. Either A, developers will use that because a lot of if you said 1 in 5 devs were LGBTQ, and in the West, I might believe you, but they'll use that to kind of like, hey, we gotta push this stuff. We gotta make more LGBTQ games. It's good for business. And of course, games just get worse as they start trying to appeal to a different audience than sort of men, which is heterosexual men are basically the biggest demographic. And the more you get away from appealing to them, the worse the games tend to get. And I think there was a survey somewhere in here, a statistic I thought I read somewhere in this. This might be over here, that tried to say that most people don't care. 30%, like stuff like this, like 70% of LGBT gamers and 40% of non-LGBT gamers are less likely to buy or play a game if it contains a harmful tropes or stereotypes. Sure, I'm sure that's true. There was also something here. To play as their own gender. LTBGQ care about being able to play as their own gender. Sure, I'm sure they do. Wish there were probably LGBT storylines. I thought there was a task to say that people don't mind if there's stuff in it. But I can't. I don't know if I can find it. I didn't prepare it, but that's all right. That's just what I wanted to go into. It kind of shows you just how they build their sort of narratives around this stuff. So you'll probably be seeing this So when you hear the 1 in 5 statistic, you'll know that it's crap. So.